To a non-believer. So I was born in a family that was not specifically religious, but we do follow some basic traditions of the Taiwanese beliefs. For example, we do go to temples to pray. We do use incenses. We do have offerings. For example, food for our ancestors. We do have the basic traditional offerings and all that, but we're not exactly religious in that sense. But as I went through elementary school, middle school, and high school, I sort of formed my own concept of God. Well, I started having some arguments with this imagination of God, and I like to think that it's the Christian God. But I wasn't really exactly anti-Christianity or anti-Christian or Christian at that point. However, when I went to university, and especially during my junior year and senior year, I started hanging out with a bunch of Christian people. I started going to fellowships. If you don't know what a fellowship is, it's kind of like a gathering of Christians. We don't meet at church, we meet at different kinds of places. And I ended up hanging out with the people from Berkeley Koinonia group, where they're basically preachers and the fellowship that origin from Berkeley. And I ended up hanging out with them. They helped me a lot. They shared some food with us. They listened to our problems. They talked to us. They're really, really nice, friendly, genuine, good people to us. To all the people from our university, they're, obviously Christians. They're spreading Christianity. But they are open to a lot of conversation. I've had a lot of problems with Christianity, with all the contradictions in the Bible and all that, and they have tried their best to answer them. And they are so, so, so nice. Before I went to stay at the hospital, they even offered to meet me and talk to me and brought me some books. And I read them, and I'm so, so grateful, especially to Paul and Luci. Paul and Lucy were so nice. They're the family that basically hosts the whole koinonia thing on our campus, and I'm so grateful for them till this day. Even though I'm not a non-believer now, I'm still grateful for them, and I still hope to meet them again one day. Since my graduation, I haven't met them, but I still hope to meet them one day again. And yeah, after going to the fellowship a lot, I started to become more religious. I started to learn more about Jesus Christ. I started to learn more about the gospel. Went through Christianity 101, and I learned more and more gospels, more and more sacred texts, and more teachings of Jesus Christ. And I felt like the more I know, the more understanding that I became. It's more of like the more I hung out with them, the more Christian I feel. If you know what I mean. Like the more I even, it's like I spent a lot of time with them. I even went out on a two day retreat with them in the mountains, and it was such a unforgettable experience. And it really did make me feel like Christianity is the right way, and they're very, very, very good people. And then I went to another Christian gathering, another fellowship called Home of Faith at my school, and they were so welcoming. They were so very, very nice, very, very good people. And this is what's great about Christianity, in my opinion, is that they have all these fellowships that really make you feel like home, feel at ease. They listen to your problems, they give you advice, and they share their food with you. They're such nice people. This is what I love about Christianity. And that is the closest that I was ever to Christianity. And I even started to believe. I started to believe in a God. However, as the change came when bad things happened. More bad things happened to me again. So I'm pretty sure I've said it in my previous videos that high school was really, really tough for me. After, you know, graduation, after going to all these fellowships, some really bad things happened to me. My mental health became a lot worse, and a lot of people left me, and I felt hopeless. I felt like there was no meaning, and I started to question again. Why does God put me through this? Why does God abandon me once again? And there was no answer. There was not an answer. And even when I was in the fellowship, even though I was kind of a believer, I still had a lot of questions. I asked Paul so many questions, but sometimes even he couldn't answer. So, plus I also watched this person on YouTube called Alex O'Connor, and he does a great job explaining why he's an atheist. He does a great job explaining why Christianity is false. And I have to admit, I am a big fan of Alex O'Connor. I'm also a big fan of his name is, I forgot what his name was, but there's other philosophy not VTubers, sorry. There's a lot of philosophy YouTubers that I watch, and pretty much every single one of them do not believe in God. I know there are Christian philosophers out there, but at least the modern ones that I watch on YouTube are mostly atheistic. They're mostly atheists, and that is why I believe they're atheists. Sorry, what am I saying? That is why I sort of gave up on the idea of becoming a Christian, because I think there is simply, too many contradictions in the Bible, first off, and too much suffering. My biggest problem with Christianity is the problem of evil, the problem of suffering, and also the hiddenness of God. These are my main problem with Christianity. Like, if God could just reveal himself, if there were less suffering, or even better, there were no suffering at all. I know the book of Job talks about this, but pretty sure there's a better way of designing this world. But yeah, that's why. It's all because of the continuing of suffering in my life that made me question my belief in God, and all these new information coming in, understanding that, why this philosopher is an atheist, why this other philosopher is an atheist. And it really expanded my horizons, and the more I learned, the more I realized how impossible it is for a all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipotent, omniscient God is to exist. So that is how I went from a non-believer to a believer of some sort. I was heavily into Christianity. I was hanging out with all the Christians. I was praying and everything. And then later, right now, until now, I am now a non-believer. I wouldn't say I'm an atheist. I'm a big believer of the paranormal, the big believer of mysticism, the paranormal, higher powers, whatever you call it. I'm a big believer of that. So I would never call myself an atheist, but a Christian I would never also call myself a Christian. But yeah, even though I'm a non-believer, I am still a big support. Wait, actually, no. I don't really support Christianity because, I believe they're spreading a false information to people, in a way that is beneficial to society, which is, kind of spreading white lies. But I don't know. It's a bit controversial to talk about whether I support Christianity as a whole. But whether I support Christianity is for another day to discuss. But I love Christian people. They're always so nice and friendly. I love Christian people. And I'll have that as the end of my video, as the conclusion. I love Christians. I have nothing against them. But Christianity is not my thing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd love to hear about your opinions on whether you're a believer or a non-believer. I'd love to hear about them. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.